In the weeks since protests began following the murder of George Floyd, the movement has been more successful than many people could have imagined. 53% of American voters now say that they support Black Lives Matter, when only 2 years ago it was around 40%. Multiple major corporations in America have now said that they are actively going to diversify their workplace and hire Black people who they've previously discriminated against for so long. And millions of white Americans are now desperately trying to find a second Black friend. But one of the biggest shifts in America is something the country has been resisting for 155 years.
Over at the Capitol, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling for nearly a dozen Confederate statues to be removed from that building, saying they pay homage to hate.
At a rally in Richmond, a statue of Confederate President Jefferson Davis was pulled down last night. The face smashed in before it was towed away in pieces.
NASCAR's Bubba Wallace racing last night with the hashtag Black Lives Matter painted on his car. The race starting hours after NASCAR banned the Confederate flag.
That was a huge pivotal moment for the sport. A lot of backlash, but it creates doors and allows the community to come together as one.
Yeah, from Congress all the way to NASCAR, all over the country, people are asking the question, is it finally time to let go of the Confederacy? And I think it's really impressive that NASCAR is doing this, because the Confederate flag is extremely popular with a lot of their fans. In fact, just to soften the blow, here's maybe what they should do. Ban the fans from bringing the flag to the races, but then incorporate it into the race itself, So like if you win the race, they wave the checkered flag, and then for the loser, they wave the Confederate flag. Yeah, that way everybody wins. The one thing that does confuse me though is, why did Congress have Confederate statues in the first place? I mean, the Confederacy fought against America, so why would you have statues of them in America's Capitol building? It makes no sense. That's like white ladies having statues of gluten in their kitchen. And I'll show you a funny picture of what that would look like, but I still have no idea what gluten actually is. I mean, it's a little insane how it feels like the government treats actual traitors better than Black citizens. George Floyd maybe had a $20 bill that was counterfeit. He gets choked to death. The president of the Confederacy was responsible for 500,000 dead Americans, and the response is, well, let's ask the quarry for the finest piece of marble. We got to remember this guy. So more than 150 years after the Civil War, the winning side is finally deciding it doesn't need to keep celebrating the side that tried to destroy them. And one step that the Pentagon is considering is renaming military bases that are named after Confederate officers. Names like Fort Bragg in North Carolina, Fort Hood in Texas, and Fort Slavecatcher in Georgia. I don't even know how they let that one pass. But what's interesting is that while the military thinks that this symbolic move can help race relations in the ranks, the commander in tweet strongly disagrees.
U.S. military leaders have expressed a willingness to discuss renaming bases named after Confederate generals. But tonight, President Trump says that won't happen, saying they are part of a great American heritage.
In a tweet from the president, he writes, "The United States of America trained and deployed our heroes on these hallowed grounds and won 2 world wars. Therefore, my administration will not even consider the renaming of magnificent and fabled military installations."
Part of me thinks Trump is doing this because he's trying to appeal to his Confederate-loving base. The other part of me thinks he's doing it because he thinks Fort Bragg is named after him. Never been humble, so powerful, I'm the best. They say that I brag better than everybody. But as usual, Trump's logic makes no sense. Because America didn't win World War II because of the names of those bases, right? America won World War II because Tom Hanks found Matt Damon. That was the turning point. You can call the base whatever you want. It's not going to determine how effectively your soldiers are going to fight. America isn't going to be losing to Russia in World War III we should have never renamed those bases! That was our secret weapon! Oh! And I know for some people this debate might seem inconsequential, but you got to understand. The reason the military generals are open to changing the names of these bases is the same reason that NASCAR is doing it. They want the military to take a unified stand against racism. And they want to show that the American military stands for all Americans, including the millions of minorities who have served within its ranks. Because just take a second, and imagine being a Black soldier training at a base that is named after somebody who didn't even think of you as a human being. That isn't just offensive to those soldiers. It's offensive to the Confederate generals too. Because I mean, imagine if they came back and saw what was happening at a base that is named after them. My God, all of the slaves have guns. Well, that's our show for tonight. But before we go, The Daily Show and Comedy Central have been donating to 3 groups who are fighting against police brutality and systemic racism: the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, the Equal Justice Initiative, and the Bail Project. Now, if you're able to help and you would like to join in, then please go to the following link and give whatever you can. Until next week, though, stay safe out there